Shalom Aleichem, and welcome back to this week's installation of a Biselleh Torah. This week's Parsha is entitled Vayikra. Now, it's not only the name of the Parsha, but it's also the name of the book, because we are beginning the third book of the Torah this week, called Vayikra. In Hebrew, in English, we call it Leviticus, and it has a still yet older name than that. It is called Torah Kohanim, the Torah of the Kohens, or the Torah of the priests. And it largely does deal with that, what the priests are obliged to do in order to be engaged with God. But let me go to the first word of Vayikra, because it's worthwhile paying attention to this word. Now, if you've seen a Torah up front, you'll note that all of the words in the line are of equal height. They go straight across, and then the next line straight across. And every now and then in the Torah, there's an anomaly, that one large letter appears out of nowhere, or a letter is smaller. That is the case with the word Vayikra, that the last letter of the word Vayikra is an alef, and it is significantly smaller than all the other letters in the Torah. And that is true not only for the Torah that we have, or that you have in your synagogue, wherever you might be. It's true in every Torah, everywhere, throughout all of the epochs of Jewish history, that it's a very small aleph. So we want to ask the question, why is this so? Why is a small aleph? Now, while we do not know the actual reason for it, it is proposed that one of the reasons may well be because Moshe Rabbeinu himself, scribed the Torah. And the first words of the book of Vayikra are, "And God called to Moses." And since Vayikra, and he called, and Moses was writing the Torah, he, being of such humble character, wanted to diminish his standing in the light of everything that was far more important than he. So he made a very small aleph, as if to say, my character is not as important as anyone would have believed, and certainly not as I would have put forth for the annals of history either. Very important character, and a very important characteristic for us to remember, to hold very close to us, because every human being is of infinite value. There are not people who are worth more or less than others, but therefore we should never think of ourselves as greater than others. The second point that I want to get across is the word korban, which is manifest throughout the entire book of Leviticus time and again. The word korban usually is rendered as sacrifice. But to be truthful and to be more specific, the word korban does not translate as sacrifice. What does the word sacrifice mean? It means something that we give up or surrender. The word korban in the infinitive is the karev, which means to draw close. So a korban is a vehicle to draw close to God, not a surrender of abdication of self, a negation of self, but rather the willingness to be engaged by and with God. And this is rather novel amongst the religions of the world, that our right, our privilege, and our duty is to listen to God and at the same time to engage with God. A very noble characteristic, which is why some people say that the book of Leviticus may be the most important book of the Bible, because in this third book of the Bible, we are told, unlike the previous books of the Bible, where one person is really highlighted as the individual to engage with God, here is the corpus of the entire people of Israel. We, as a nation, are called upon to talk to God, to listen to God, to engage with God, to even argue with God. And the worst thing that we can possibly do, as noted by Biselleh of blessed memory, is to ignore God. We're not given that right to ignore God. Our duty and responsibility, Judaically, by our heritage, is to engage with God, which is that whole, encapsulated in that whole word, karov, korban. And maybe this is our opportunity to stop, to listen, and then to talk. This is what we do. This is our Jewish obligation.